brochure, a schedule map, a similar version, a smaller version of this that mounts to each bus stop. So when you walk out, you'll know exactly where you are on the route and kind of where to get to and from. One other big thing is we have an app that's on Android and Apple, and basically it's a live feed of the routes that's running throughout our service areas. If you're behind the bus and you pull that app up and you see the bus turning on the street, if you're looking at the map, it's pretty much at the exact same time. So and it's just I'm here to. There's nothing. I'm not really asking for anything. I just want you to know how well the program's going, and the biggest thing is how it's doing compared to other areas. Even during COVID, ridership obviously dropped a good bit, but it was better than almost every other area. The city of Florence, we're facing 60 to 70% reduction in service, and Marlborough County is basically about 25 or 30. So it's a big difference. Any questions? I'm certainly here to answer those, and just look forward to working with you all to continue heading in the right direction.
Any questions or comments? Well, we thank you for everything you are doing for helping our citizens out and expanding the routes, and so hopefully just continue to grow, and maybe we won't have any more pandemics to come along and cause a hiccup in the system, but we thank you for everything you're doing, and thank you for the hard work for staff and all for getting this off the road a couple years ago. Thank you.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. Good evening.
All right. Up next, executive session. The executive session is discussion of legal and contractual matters. Have a motion to go into executive session.
Motion.
Have a second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous. All right. Thank you. Where will we go?
I'll show you.
All right. We'll be back shortly. Gladden made a motion. Mr. Midgley seconded. No votes were taken, no actions. Sorry it took a little longer than what we had planned. We try not to have too many executive sessions. Some of them do take a little longer whenever you're discussing legal and contractual matters. And so we thank you for your patience. Up next, we have a public hearing. We'll call public hearing number 799. It says an ordinance to amend the agreement for development of a Morty County Industrial and Business Park by and between Darling County and Marlborough County, providing for the development of a jointly owned and operated industrial business park so as to include additional property in Darling County as part of a joint county industrial park and other matters related thereto. Mr. Mullen, you have anything?
This
for
is just
public
that
hearing?
standard agreement we do with larger counties to help them provide greater tax incentives for industries, and they do it for us as well when we have a project.
Any comments from council, from the public? We'll close this public hearing. Up next, approval of minutes, September 8th, 2020, regular council minutes.
I move we accept the minutes as written.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you. Next, we'll have 6B, ordinance 799. It's an ordinance to amend the agreement and development of a Morty County Industrial and Business Park. This is the same ordinance we just had the public hearing on. Any more comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we, set ordinance number 799, second reading.
I have a motion and a second. Second. I have a motion and a second for ordinance 799. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you. New business, emergency ordinance number 800. An emergency ordinance to declare a state of emergency in Marlborough County and other matters related thereto. Mr. Mullen.
This is just a third renewal of the same ordinance we've done three times, to allow us to manage money and such if we have an emergency related to COVID. Hopefully it's the last time we have to do it. It only goes for, I think, 60 days, and then you have to do it again. We haven't really had to use it because council has things in good order and it makes good policies. It makes it easy to keep things running. They've done a good job with that.
Any comments or questions? Call. Need a motion? Motion. Mr. Gladden?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. Resolution 10-2001, a resolution ratifying a grant agreement between Marlborough County and the Center for Tech and Civil Life for COVID-19 response grant and authorization to accept grant. Mr. Mullen?
This is one of two grants we have on your agenda tonight related to coronavirus relief. This one benefits the Election Commission and Voter Registration Board, Voter Registration Department. It's for about $30,000 that's in your packet. We help them buy some things they need to help have a safe voting experience. Now, we always bring these to you all for approval. We have allowed some purchase requisitions to be issued, so we won't hold that up, anticipating you all's approval of this and the other one here. They're both pretty clear cut, and so we recommend, obviously, that you would approve this.
All right.
I move for the approval of this resolution.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Resolution 10-2001. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you. Resolution 10-2002. Resolution authorizing an agreement between Marlborough County and Bitech LLC for integrated software system for Marlborough County Tax Assessors Office.
Mr. Chairman, this is the official contract for the software that will be used to do the reassessment of the county. We typically have done this over the years with paper cards that then are gone out in the field and drawn on and figured on, and then those are keyed into the system. This will allow us to be more modern and do it on tablet computers and such, and it would go straight in the system. The total cost is $235,000. The tax assessor, Kepley, did a great job of negotiating that down to that price. It's actually typically more expensive than that. And he also was able to get it split into three payments for 3 years of about $80,000. So we're really excited about this. We have had reviewed it with staff and the attorney, and we will give one final pass before we sign it. We're asking for your approval to go ahead and move forward with this. It is in the budget. You did approve it in the budget.
That do we have a motion? We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Review and approval of detention center inmate commissary agreement with the McDaniel Supply Company.
This is a renewal of a contract we've had for several years with this company. They've, according to the warden and the sheriff, they provided excellent service, and finance has looked at this as well as legal counsel to make sure it's in line, and we recommend that it be renewed and approved for, I think it's a term of 3 or 5 years? 3 years. Yeah, we typically, I prefer not to recommend something to you all that's more than 3 years, really more than a year, unless there's some savings. I think when you go 4 or 5 years out, you're tying down things you need to look at again. So this is 3 years, and we ask that you all approve it.
All right. With that, do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Move and second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Authorization to execute grant award letter in the amount of $101,710 on behalf of Fourth Circuit Solicitor's Office.
As I said earlier, this is another CARES Act type COVID relief grant that that Solicitor's Office came to us and made sure it was okay to proceed with, and then brought us to us once they had moved along so we could ask council for approval. You know, typically, as long as I've been involved here, council has to approve grants, and so this is following that same procedure. But it doesn't cost us anything, and we certainly recommend you approve it.
Come in. Have a motion for Mr. Blackman.
Second.
Second, Ms. Plato. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. It's unanimous. All right. Next, ordinance 801, ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a fee in lieu of tax and incentive agreement by and between Marlborough County, South Carolina, and a company identified for the time being as Project Onward, one or more special source revenue credit agreements, each with respect to certain properties in the county, whereby such property will be subject to certain fee in lieus when ad valorem tax and a provision certain special resource revenue credits and other matters related thereto. So this would be a first reading for this one, correct?
You all had read this in another version, but it had been almost a year ago, so legal counsel and staff would recommend we start fresh. This is to help an existing company expand. It will do two things. It will help them expand and also give us a more set revenue level over a 5 or 6 year period. So we will have more the meat to the sandwich here for the second reading, but we want to start over with title only.
So this is for title only. Do we have a motion for this?
I move we approve this reading.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Motion and a second for ordinance 801. All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Appointments to boards and commissions. Anybody have anything to boards and commissions? Nothing? All right. Finance report, Mr. Westport.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, council members, Mr. Munell, you have before you a report for the first quarter, which is ending September 30th, 2020. General fund revenues through that period total $1,541,110. Expenditures through that same period, $2,785,560 of a $12,038,883 budget, or 23.14% of budget year to date. As of that same date, the county has $3,983,639 and 3 general fund operating bank accounts. So this concludes my report. I don't know if there's any questions you might have. I'd be glad to entertain those.
Any questions or comments from the report? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, Mr. Moore.
I'm gonna pull this mask down. I'm far enough apart so y'all can hear what I'm saying. As we do every month, we have employee service anniversaries. The following employees have 5 or more years of service. They are Kay Liner with 18 years, Linda Coffey with 5 years, Lee McQueen with 20 years, Lee just retired, Ray Kelly with 18 years, D.T. Turner with 8 years, and Jose Lemon with 13 years. As we've done every month, we've assisted at the community kitchen. Ms. Tricia Bundy will be leading the group tomorrow, and if you all want to help, I'm sure she'd love to have some help. There is a small merchants meeting being put on by the city of Bennettsville and the Chamber of Commerce that'll be conducted on several dates, and you see them there. These will be at the Sky on October 12th, November 9th, and January 11th. Those are to help small merchants in the county, come up with ideas, help them with business planning, any kind of thing to help establish business or help with a business in Bennettsville. There's also a meeting concerning tax credits for historical properties here in the county. And the city and the Chamber of Commerce and the county's Historic Preservation Commission that you all appoint have gone in together on this. There'll be a representative from the South Carolina Department of Archives and History, as well as a law firm representative there that specializes in tax credits. And this will be Monday, October 26th at 5:30, also at the Sky. The South Carolina Department of Veterans Affairs Secretary William Grimsley we've learned from our county veteran affairs officer Reginald McLeod that this Secretary Grimsley will be visiting the Bennettsville office Wednesday, October 27th, around 1:30. So you're certainly welcome to come by. That's a big deal, and we'll be happy to see him. We also, the VA officer for the county Reggie McLeod is doing a great job. We really enjoy working with him. He's not kind of a county department, and they've been very easy to work with, and we appreciate his dedication there. Also, you've got a flyer in your thing for a countywide trunk or treat, anyway, something like that, where you drive through and you trick or treat. This year is even more important because we need to stay apart from each other. But it's going to be held in a number of different communities on Halloween from 3 to 5. So if you'll look in your packet, and also we'll put it on the internet so folks can see where those events are happening. We're excited about that, and excited that everybody's kind of going in together to do it. That's always a nice thing when everybody's working together. And I'm trying to skip down to the rest there. As far as economic development, we've begun to see in the last week or two, some activity again, with prospects and prospective industrial projects. A couple of these are solar projects, but we have at least one that's a traditional manufacturing prospect. So that's good news that things are cranking back up. As far as existing industries, we are assisting several existing industries with small projects and expansions, and also trying to help them continue arrangements with us that'll keep them healthy during this time. We don't want to see anybody close, and a lot of folks are struggling. So we're doing what we can, staff level, to help those folks out. With regards to the broadband initiative and the CARES Act money, this morning Chairman Steen, Councilman Odom, and myself visited a site in McCall near the railroad tracks where they're boring under the tracks to extend the cable. Officials from the state Office of Regulatory Services, as well as CEO of Sand Hill Co-op, Lee Chambers, and members of the legislative delegation attended. It's encouraging to see dirt moving around and things actually happening for this. That particular line will run all the way from on the bypass in Bennettsville to the state line at McCall. So that'll serve that area, but also provide an opportunity to interconnect in North Carolina, so you don't lose the internet when something drops out. You've got an interconnection. So we were really pumped up to see that. Moving on, the 2020 census, this response deadline has been extended to October 31st. So we continue to encourage everybody to complete the forms and get them in the mail as soon as possible to meet the deadline. The last item I have is something that's kind of happened in the last few days. MUSC, has a hospital in Florence now, Medical University of South Carolina Hospital System, also in Marion. And we were approached by them, actually two Marlborough County natives, Don Seals and, oh my gosh, Joe, what's Joe's last name? Joe McCall. They're both involved there and work there, and they want to provide testing for businesses here in the county. But they want to provide the real deal testing, I call it, where they basically scramble your brains with a coffee mixer. A lot of folks use the rapid test, and that's a good thing to have the ability to use, but it's not as accurate as the real deal test. So MUSC will be able to provide the real test, and as long as it's done in the morning, you can get the results the next morning. And a lot of folks have had to go the rapid route because the wait was 5, 7, 8 days on the other deal. So another part of this is they've asked if our EMS people, in the mornings could help do the test if there were a need. And we agreed because I think that's a good community outreach project. So this will be cranking up, I believe, next week. We'll send you some more information. And we've been helping through the partnership to make businesses aware of this so they know. If a person has insurance, it doesn't cost anybody anything. So it's really a good deal. That's all I had. I can try to answer any questions you may have.
Questions, comments, council? All right. Thank you, Mr. Moore. Citizens, Ms. Brenda Dixon from the PD Coalition. Ask you to come forward and.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, Mr. Monomer, I want to thank all of you so much for giving me the opportunity to address this council for just a few minutes. I see you move your business rapidly, so I'm not going to hold you up. First of all, I want you to know that this is what we call National Domestic Violence Month, Awareness Month. And that's what we are celebrating now. And we want you to know if you want to contact us to make any presentations of any kind to any group, we would be happy to do that. And first of all, I do want to say thank you so much for your support over the years and your continued support. We all have to work together, and you have really supported us throughout the year. And we want to thank you for that. Thank you for the support that you're going to give us in the future. And so we really appreciate that. You do know that we actually work together, and you understand that actually law enforcement, and you've seen it on the television, they really have to go up against domestic violence, and that's one of the hardest calls they will have. And we also want you to know that this will really affect our children. When we think about domestic violence, we're thinking about husband, wives, or couples, or things like that. But that, whatever happens with them, is going to also affect the children. So we are asking you to please continue to support us, but we want to thank you for what you've done and help us to celebrate this month, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Council members, Mr. Woods, we'll start with you.
First and foremost, I would like to thank everybody for the work that they have been doing. And we're looking forward to the Trick or Trunk or Trunk or Treat. I know the kids gonna be excited about doing it. We thank all those that are involved as a county-wide event. And we know, growing up as well, the children love that candy. Except for Corey and myself, we don't do that. But anyway, it's a great joint adventure. We know voting is right around the corner on November the 3rd. We wish all those running, Sheriff Lemon, Councilman Odom, good luck in your race. And I think that's all on here, right? Anyway, good luck for the race, but the bigger thing is make sure everybody vote either in person. One good thing about living in a small town, we don't have to wait no 6 hours in line to vote. You want to vote in person. So that's one thing about being in a small town. We can just walk in and the day of the vote. That's what I like to do. I walk the day of the vote. I don't vote early. But for those who can, just vote, period. You know, your vote is very important. County-wide, nationwide, statewide, it is a very important time in 2020.
You good? All right. Commission?
just, get out and vote. That's all I got to say.
All right. Mr. Led?
I guess voting is the thing. It is. The problem that I have about people voting is like everybody votes straight Democrat, straight Republican, instead of voting for the person, right? I mean, that needs to stop. You know, you vote white, you vote black. That needs to stop, right? We need to start to look at what the people's bringing to the table and voting for the people instead of the party or their complexion. That's a major problem to this whole country, besides this right here in Marlborough County. One of the other things right here in Marlborough County that bothers me, which don't have anything to do with the council at all, is East Side School to be bought to build a high-rise apartment to beautify the lake. Well, if you talk to some of the seniors around here, you find out the only school that minorities could go to was East Side School. And now they're saying, well, we're gonna buy it and we're gonna build a high-rise apartment. Oh, but we're gonna leave Walker Park over there for y'all to keep. This is something I think people really need to look at. And I think you really need to talk to your senators and House representatives about the idea of selling East Side School to make a high-rise apartment to beautify anything. That's all I have to say.
Just vote. Vote like your life depends on it, because I really feel in this election it does.
Yes, the community center, it is open for voting. Everybody knows that. The hours are 9 to 4, 5 days a week. On Thursdays this month, they're open from 9 to 7. So people that are working can go the last couple of hours and vote on Thursdays. To date, 7 days of early voting, we voted 1,802 people. So it's pretty strong turnout already. And the community center offers great social distancing, which everybody's got to be cognizant of, and great parking. So, and the other thing is the most active hurricane season we've had in history. And who knows, on November the 3rd, we could possibly have 4 or 5 days of rain, and that kills turnouts on voting. So while we got all these beautiful days in October, everybody exercise your right and go ahead and vote. Had the issue down in the Red Bluff area for quite some time with littering. Of course, you know, we have that problem all over the county. And one of my residents in my area, she really wants us to look next year at something we can do to maybe change that. Increase the fines, put mandatory 10-day community service on people for doing it. And even she suggested the idea if we could come up with a utility crew, but we all know that we probably couldn't come up with a big enough crew that can keep this litter from causing such a problem in the county. So the best thing to do is do something to deter them from doing it to start off with. And I think either increasing the fines or doing a mandatory 10-day sentence and don't let the judge hand it down, I think you can probably stop a lot of it. That's all I got.
All right. See Sheriff Lemon back there. You have anything, Sheriff Lemon, before we? We did, you know, as Mr. Mullen said this morning, was out at, with a broadband initiative. That was that's a pretty big thing for our county and our staff and the Sand Hill Telephone Cooperative. I mean, they worked hard to get all that going, put a lot of, and you know, and all the rest of the staff. I mean, they rode roads and counted houses and looked at mailboxes, made sure they were here, there, and to work hard. And so, you know, as whenever you do the hard work, I think you need to be commended. Don't just jump up for a photo shoot just to get it at the last minute. I mean, you know, the hard work was done in the very beginning to make that happen. So, you know, I think give credit where credit's due. And so we thank them for that. You know, it's presented to council, you know, to make sure this goes forward. And so I think council had a big part. So, you know, I just think it's important that we let everybody know is, you know, when these things happen, that who's actually working to make it happen, you know. And so it is time to vote. And so as Mr. Gladden said, you know, it's vote for the person. I think that's, you know, that's always good to do is, you know, you know the person. If you know the person, I think you got to at least look at them, no matter, as he said, if it's a Republican or Democrat, if they're white or black, just vote for the person that you think is going to do the best job. It is our right to vote, and it's, I think, our civic duty to vote. And so I was always told, if you don't vote, you can't complain. And so, so that's what they used to tell me. And so I think everybody's obligated to vote. We thank you for that. Anybody else got anything for the crowd?